Mr. Kornacki, a couple of things. First of all, is Arizona, we haven't called it yet. What would somehow change everybody's prognostication here? You know, it certainly looks like you'd rather be Lake than Robson. What don't we know that could turn the tide here for Robson?
Yeah, so there are still, you see about 80% in Maricopa County. This is the largest county by far in the state. This is the largest source of outstanding votes. And I think we're expecting sometime in the evening hours tonight to get the next big batch from Maricopa County. And the question is, obviously, Taylor Robson's going to have to win that vote, whatever comes out tonight. If she wins it, I think we could talk about this still potentially being interesting. But what you're looking at here, you're going to be some combination of votes that were dropped off, ballots that were dropped off at polling places yesterday in person. You know, folks filled them out at home, dropped them off in person. We found in 2020 that sort of characteristically tended to be a more Trump-favorable vote. There may also be some votes that just arrived in the mail at polling places on Monday that are included in that as well. The general rule, though, has been, we saw this, what put Kari Lake into the lead in the overnight hours last night was when they counted up the same-day vote. Right. You know, the votes that were cast in person yesterday. You know, Trump voters we saw in 2020 like to vote same day, and Trump-backed candidates voters were doing that in Arizona. She was winning the same-day vote by more than 2-1 in Maricopa, bigger margins elsewhere. So if those votes that were dropped off in person yesterday and the latest arriving mail ballots are even remotely like the same-day vote was, like if Lake is just winning them by 2 points, that's all she needs to do because she's already ahead. So Robson has got to make a comeback with a sort of unlikely batch of ballots to make a comeback with. But Maricopa's the biggie. They're going to have a big batch in a few hours, so we'll see. All right,
let's move to Kansas. And I think it's sort of and I want you to showcase, what was interesting to me is it didn't matter the county. The overperformance of Biden's numbers by the no vote seemed to be almost the same across the board. You know, if Biden got in the high teens in a county, no got maybe low 30s. And if Biden got 50 in a county, it suddenly was in the mid 60s. Is there anything is that what you saw across the board?
Yeah, no, and I mean, what it points to, I think, clearly is here for the no side to be upwards to be near 60% here, they had to get a substantial number of Republican voters to vote no on this. I mean, one way of looking at this is if you added together every vote that was cast in the Democratic primary in Kansas yesterday, and you added to that every independent vote that came out and was cast in the referendum, it would not add up. It would be well short, almost 100,000 votes short of the total for the no vote. So that means even if you assume that every Democrat and every independent who voted no, you'd still need about 20% of Republicans to have voted yes. And surely some independents voted yes, and there are even some Democrats who voted yes. So I think realistically, it wouldn't be crazy to say that upwards of 30% of Republicans in Kansas ended up voting no on this thing yesterday. I mean, give you some examples. Here's a county with some historical Republican significance, Russell County. Bob Dole's old home county, staunchly.
Arlen Specter as well, by the way, to go old school. Only you and I would do that, but anyway.
That's true, too. Trump got 81% of the vote here. Biden got 17. Look at this.
Wow.
The no side sitting there at 45%. And you see this all throughout western Kansas in these small, rural, heavily Republican counties. So we talk a lot about the suburbs outside Kansas City, but it is a statewide story.
And very quickly, there's two types of swing voters in American politics, and there's one type of swing voter that everybody wonders about in midterms, and that is the voter that votes in presidential elections only. Who showed up? Yeah, there was over 100,000 people showed up to just do this one exercise.
Yeah, and you heard it from Dasha, too. I was looking at where are the counties that sort of disproportionately had the highest turnout. And actually, right now, Johnson County, which is the biggest in the state. Johnson County accounted for about 25% of the vote in Kansas in the 2020 presidential election. It was closer to 27% the last I looked in this referendum. The turnout there was over 50%. Again, this is just a classic. We see a bunch of these all across the country. Big, giant, sprawling, metropolitan, suburban county that's gone from Republican to Democratic in the Trump era. And here it is, socially moderate, nearly 70% no in Johnson County.
Steve Kornacki, we had a great primary night for people that love the numbers game. As always, sir, thank you. Great stuff.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.